What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. Yes, I'm keeping my voice down for a reason because once again, it's Monday night and the roommates are sleeping. So how do we start off this show? As you know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. There you go. I'm trying my best here to keep my voice down. Really quick, special shouts out because I want to do this for my friend. Happy birthday to Lissy Crawford, the petite goddess out there. Appreciate the support of the show as always. So I definitely had to get that shout out, of course. And then happy birthday to my Aunt Tammy, my godmom. It was her birthday over the weekend. Big time supporter of this show. Really appreciate you as always. Quick story, and then we'll get to the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. Took me to one of my first baseball games with the Cincinnati Reds there in Plant City. Got a chance to meet the great Barry Larkin, which was amazing at the time. Also took me to see Michael Jordan play. So she has been a big part of my life. And of course, who could forget, she bought the hoodie to keep me warm because, I never refused to wear any winter, coats or anything like that. She bought me the Bucks hoodie so I wouldn't freeze to death. She's been in my life for a long time. Love you, Aunt Tammy. Happy birthday. Hope the birthday is special. And I will definitely see you soon. So with that being said, as I try to keep my voice down, phone lines are open tonight because we got to talk about Chris Godwin. These rumors that came out today, we'll start there. And this is from Jenna Lane, of course, a friend of the show. She says today, while sources told ESPN the Bucks were very much want Chris Godwin back, they'll do what it takes to make this happen. It won't be on a franchise tag. They used the tag as a placeholder the last time Godwin was a free agent in 2022. They use it on him in 2021. So this would be his third time being tagged. Therefore, it would be 144% raise. Wow. And I'm told there is no chance of that happening. They'll do what it takes to re-sign him as a free agent. By the way, the 144% raise, if they did decide to use that third tag, which they most likely won't, would be around $41 million. He could command $20 million. Of course, I told you the value may not be as high as a lot of people predict it's going to be because of the dislocated ankle. There's still some question marks there. She also goes on to say this. Let's get this out of the way now. The Bucks absolutely want Godwin back and will do everything in their power to make that happen with no concern about him recovering from a dislocated left ankle in week 7. Of course, they have done this before, have rewarded him with a 3-year deal worth $60 million after he tore his ACL and MCL and his right knee in 2021. According to ESPN around the league, take this for what it's worth, the 2 locations that he could most likely sign with in free agency, because he's one of the main free agents the Bucks are going to definitely have to look at and see if they're going to re-sign, and I think they will get it done with Jason Light, would be the Las Vegas Raiders, and of course, the hated Jacksonville Jaguars with Liam Cohen. So we will definitely consider and keep on talking about Chris Godwin and where he may go. I think he does re-sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but my question for you Bucs fans for the night, how concerned are you with Godwin going into free agency at this point on a scale of 1 to 10? Put that in there. Also, what did you do this weekend? Because I know I was missing football. What did you do? Did you care about the hockey? Did you care about the All-Star game there? What's worse at this point, the NFL Pro Bowl or the NBA All-Star game with the dunk contest? Did you care? What did you do this weekend? Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. And yes, there's nothing wrong with my throat. There's nothing wrong with my voice. I'm just trying to be considerate to my roommates who are sleeping at this juncture. So with that being said, let's go out to the legend himself. Here we go.
Book him, Dano.
Let's go out to Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television on a Monday night, my friend.
Peter, I'm going to bring the passion and I'm going to bring the excitement because I'm not going to bring any nonsense.
Well, there you go.
Let's get a couple things out of the way right now.
Yes.
Chris Godwin, if he doesn't sign with the Buccaneers, you know where he's going to end up? The Washington Commanders. That is scary. You put him with McLaren in there and Jaden Daniels, that's a scary group. And you know what? Guess where he's from? Delaware. Okay, let's leave it at that.
Very nice. Very nice.
Let's get to the second thing that you brought up already.
Yes.
There's no way I'm watching that NBA non-competitive first 1 to 40 wins. But I'll tell you what, Adam Silver, I hope somebody on his staff goes, hey, Adam, look at what the NHL did. Getting rid of that figure skating competition they called the All-Star Weekend for the Four Nations face-off is a stroke of genius. Can you imagine? If the NBA had 4 teams, the United States, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa? I'd watch it, and I bet hundreds of millions would, because what does the NBA want to do? It wants to increase its footprint globally. And you know all that would be? 2 words, cha-ching.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct about that. It would be cha-ching when it comes to money because, of course, the NBA is trying to expand the league like what the NFL is trying to do right now. I know you're a happy man. We didn't get a chance to talk. We kind of talked a little bit, but you're happy about your Philadelphia Eagles. You want to recap that? Give me some final thoughts on Super Bowl 59 really quick.
Peter, there were over 1 million people at that parade. It was phenomenal. And Ken Polak hit the nail on the head. He said, that never gets old. Let's do it again. And it's kind of funny when you think about it. Tom Brady was at both Eagles Super Bowls, once as a commentator, once as an opponent. Nick Foles was there, once as a player, once as a spectator. Guess who the third one is in that triumvirate? Carson Wentz was with the Eagles, but was injured and was the backup for the Chiefs. I'll tell you what, let's make sure Carson shows up next year for somebody, because that worked out pretty well. Peter, Andy Reid's catching a whole lot of you-know-what, saying he was out-coached and that. When you are looking at a defensive line and an offensive line that's bigger, faster, stronger, and meaner than yours, you don't have a game plan. Mike Tyson had the best line. Yeah, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. Well, once the Chiefs got punched in the mouth, they had no plan.
Right.
Because all of a sudden, and Ron Jaworski has preached this to us, Peter. We've heard it so many times.
Yes.
What does a quarterback hate? Color in his face. Davis and Carter forced Mahomes to look at the rush. When you're looking at the rush, you're not looking downfield.
How much do you like Josh? How much do you like?
Won or lost in the trenches.
You're exactly right. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're correct about that, and that's how the Bucs won Super Bowl 55. And keep on going back to that. And I feel like that's the way they're going to have to get back to their promise, if you will, prominence on defense is getting an edge rusher. Josh Sweat, 8 sacks for the year, 2.5 during the Super Bowl. He's going to be a free agent. I put the question out there. Josh Sweat, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Max Crosby has been mentioned. I mean, in my opinion, I get it. A lot of Bucs fans want to see them get younger, but we all know when you try to draft a guy in the first or second round, it's tough for them to transition over. JTS comes to mind, Chris Braswell. So for me, if Myles Garrett is out there, if a Josh Sweat is out there, if a Trey Hendrickson is out there, if a Max Crosby, even a Micah Parsons, if he's out there on the trading block, are you giving up 2 first-round picks, especially for Garrett? How do you feel about Sweat? How do you feel about Garrett? Who would you go for if you're Jason Light for a night?
Well, Peter, you brought this up in your monologue. First thing you need to do is start to restructure contracts, because right now they can't sign anybody.
Right.
There's just not enough money there. They've got to restructure. And who are you going to look at? As dumb as this sounds, the first person you got to come to is Baker Mayfield. and
Right.
say, hey, you're the one we can move money around the most with because you have the most money. Again,
Correct.
that's something they got to do. I think if you start to see contracts being renegotiated,
Mm-hmm.
now you know the Bucks are going to be a player. But right now, Peter, they can't be a player. They just don't have the money. And then you got to decide with Chris Godwin, do you want to break up the band?
Mm.
I think Mike Evans is probably telling him, hey, look, guys, we're 1 and 1A.
Mm-hmm.
We're not 1 and 2. I mean, look at what Cincinnati's going through right now with T. Higgins. I mean, I don't know how they're going to keep him. I don't know how they can afford to keep him. The Bucks may be in that same situation. They may not be able to talk enough people into renegotiating their contracts to create cap space. And right now, they don't have cap space for Garrett or Hendrickson. Probably not even Sweat, because Sweat's going to get a bunch of money after his performance.
Well, here's the thing, and to put this out there, and we're on with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, on a Monday night instead of a Wednesday. We'll have him back on a Wednesday, but we haven't had him on here in a long time. This is
double hitter.
Yeah, that's it. I'm your host.
2.
That's it. Exactly. We'll get you back on Wednesday night. Bleacher Report thinks because of Jalen McMillan and what he did and basically what he did after Godwin went out, that's the reason why he would move on. But I agree with you on that. I think Godwin and Mike Evans' relationship, I think the Bucks, because they've done it before when Godwin was injured, they're going to look at it. But do you think, and of course the Bucks have to free up, and they can free up about $66 million with restructuring Baker Mayfield and restructuring Mike Evans and doing that kind of creative stuff. And also with the Jamel Dean, they can create that cap, according to the Tampa Bay Times and other sources out there. So my question is, if they do that, do you think Godwin is the number one priority? And then after that, Levante David, or could they move on from Chris Godwin because maybe a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars would overpay because Liam Cohen, or because John Spytek, or another team, maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers, you said the Washington Commanders out there, if they overpay, you just go with Jalen McMillan and you focus on this defense?
Peter, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And again, I was the biggest proponent of taking McMillan. I saw what he could do with Washington. It was going to translate to the National Football League.
Right.
They don't want to move on from Godwin, but it's a business.
Right.
People got to remember that. Are you going to, hamstring your whole team just to make this work?
Right.
Again, they still need a third wideout. They still need a third wideout. And sad to say, but I don't think Levante David is really a priority.
Wow.
It's sad to say, but again, if you're looking at what needs to happen, I think Godwin's the first, and edge rusher is the second.
Okay.
Somehow, draft, free agent, whatever. Levante David's the third. Because, I can remember Carmen Perone, who taught me everything I know about drafts and everything I know about drafting. You draft from the ball out. Who's closest to the ball? The edge rusher or the linebacker? The edge rusher. So, yeah, you got to. And this is a copycat league. People are going to look at what Philadelphia did. I'm going to find the two biggest SOBs in the Valley, and I'm going to put them at defensive tackle. They're going to rush up the middle, and I'm going to get the most athletic edge rushers. And you know what? It makes your secondary look like it's pristine.
Well, listen, you have Kalijah Cansey there. You have Vita Vea, so you already have two big guys there. You just need somebody to pair with the Yaya Diaby. Diaby has come out and said that he believes he could be an elite edge rusher. Going back to that in just a moment, if you have your choice, are you trading for a Myles Garrett and 2 first-round picks because that championship window is open? Or are you going to try to get a Trey Hendrickson? Are you going to try to get a Josh Sweat? Again, this comes down to when the Bucks free up money, which we know they're going to do. Or do you continue to draft and build on young talent? Or do you double dip? What do you do? Myles Garrett's out there, 2 first-round picks to Cleveland. You're going to have to re-sign him. But to me, that championship window for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is open. He's a generational player. You go for him first?
Peter, are you asking me that as an NFL scout, or are you asking me that as a media member?
I'm asking you. Well,
answers.
give me the perspectives here from an NFL scout, because you've been that before, and that's why we have you on this show. And then give me the media member kind of deal.
NFL scout says I'm not giving 2 number 1s up.
Okay.
Period. It's not going to happen, because that is suicide down the road.
Right.
Look what happened when the Bucs got John Gruden. Okay. Again, I answered that same question. As an NFL scout, I wouldn't have done it. Now, as a media member, yeah, because you know what? I'll trade 2 number 1s for a Super Bowl Lombardi trophy.
Right.
The Bucs have to honestly sit back and look in the mirror and say, how close are we? I think they're 2 years away. That's why I don't think you're going to see them make that big push for that, Garrett or Parsons. Hendrickson, maybe, Sweat, yeah. But they got to catch up to Washington. They got to catch up to Detroit. They got to catch up to Philly. And the funny thing is, they beat all 3 last year.
Correct.
But they're close. But the problem is that mountain's getting steeper, because those 3 teams aren't going away.
Right.
And where Matthew Stafford ends up, and people talking about him moving on, if he moves on from the Rams, look out, because guess who's going there? Aaron Rodgers.
Well, don't steal my thunder now, because I'm going to get back to that in a moment. But going back to it, if you know that you want to compete with Washington and Philadelphia, we've seen this before with the Bucs. They traded 2 first-round picks for a Keyshawn Johnson. They traded a multitude, Leo Ward, of picks for John Gruden to get a Super Bowl. It worked out in their favor. So if you know that you have to catch these teams and you're only a couple players away, which I think the Bucs are only a couple players away, another edge rusher, possibly a couple linebackers, although Gerald McCoy brings up a great point. If you get a Garrett or you get somebody in there, maybe Levante David comes back, you have Sebastian Dennis, you can look in the draft and go out and get a linebacker, and then you get a corner, or you continue to go with Dean. You sign him to a restructured deal, and then helps your secondary with the edge rush. I only think they're a couple players away, so that's why I say you make that move for Garrett, because you're not going to get a generational player like that. And 2 first-round picks, at the end of the day, you're giving up 19, which you're not sure a guy's going to come in there right away and be productive. And if you're anticipating that you're going to go deep in the playoffs, it's going to be possibly 20 to 25. So I'm willing to give that up, especially for Garrett, who's had 7 consecutive double-digit sack seasons here the last couple years. With that being said, Yaya Diaby, he says he can be an elite pass rusher. From a scout's perspective, what is he missing at this point in order to become that elite pass rusher besides the obvious injury?
Bull rush.
Okay.
There's 4 types of rushes. Bull rush, there's a swim, there's basically what we call a spin move. And then there's simply, as Reggie White used to do, the club. Boom.
Right.
I don't think he's a bull rusher. He's a technique guy.
Okay.
The problem is, when you're going against the Eagles, good luck with that technique. You got to be able to try to run some of these guys over every now and then. I just don't. He ain't bringing enough. You know what?
Right. Okay.
If he can start, look to see if he puts on 10, 15 pounds over the winter. Getting up back into camp, because now that becomes a part of his repertoire. Hey, you like that one for tonight?
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, he's got the speed rush down. He's got the swim move. He's got all these other, but he doesn't have that just bull rush.
Right.
Because that's got to be in the back of an offensive tackle's mind. If I don't get back and I don't anchor quick enough, he's going to run me over.
Right. Exactly. Why don't rushers from the draft work out that well? I mean, you have TJ Watt, you have JJ Watt, but there's not a lot of rushers that come out right away and are productive. Why is it so difficult for that transition process from the college game to the NFL game? Why does it take a couple of years? Why isn't it just 1 year? Why want to take 1 year? Why can't a rookie make an impact like a lot of Bucs fans feel like, you draft a rookie, maybe a Mike Green, I believe out of Marshall, he comes in. Will he make an impact right away? Why wouldn't he make an impact? Why don't young rushers make more of an impact, in your opinion?
As they used to say, Grasshopper, you are very close with that question. Here's the problem. Look at what the National Football League is now, and look at what NCAA football is. Because of the spread offense, everybody had to move down a notch.
Right.
Safeties are now playing linebacker. Linebackers are now playing defensive end, just to get that speed on the field. You're not seeing any of those big, hulky guys that aren't playing a 0, 1, 2, or 3 technique.
Okay.
Anybody that's playing a 6, 7, 8, 9 technique, which is outside the guard and outside the tackle and tight end, you got to have speed. And normally, these guys are not big, because right now in college football, it's not a run game. It's a pass game, and everybody's in a shotgun. Now you get up to this league, and all of a sudden, you're looking at a Jordan Mailata at 6'9", 300. I can remember watching in the Super Bowl or even against Washington when they started taking pictures from behind the offense, and you saw these Eagles guys come out, and Jurgens was 6'4", and he looked like a midget. I mean, you're not. The only thing you can hope for is that when you get to a situation, it's an obvious passing situation. Because if you got to play run, you got a problem. Because these guys, Becton, you got, Hendrickson, you got Dickerson, you got Lane Johnson, just with the Eagles. I mean, you just look at what's going on. I would put somebody up against Tristan Wirfs every day of practice just to see, hey, that's going against the best. And Peter, it's such a different game because in the NFL, that ball comes out in a hurry. It's bing, bing, out, bing, bing, out. And that's what they preach, is everything's on timing. Everything is simply just, when you talk about a cover 2, we used to say, you want to funnel it inside. Talk to Mike Tomlin. He said, we just want to redirect. That's how much the timing is off. If that guy's got to take 1 or 2 steps in the other direction.
You're exactly right. We're on with Leo Haggerty here. I'm looking at some of my notes. He talked about Tristan Wirfs. I think we're going to get back to that in a moment because he had some interesting comments about blocking in the position. Let's see here. What did he said this about the pivot. He said about, going to a team psychologist. I'm harder on, and this is from Joe Bucks fan, I'm harder on myself than anybody. So it's like I was having these nightmares. I was like, I'm not going to be good enough. I remember having nightmares giving up sacks, like clean strip sacks to the end of the game. They were nightmares where I could take a pass protection set, just stupid stuff. And I'm like, what am I doing? He says he's getting over that fear of not living up to that contract is what Wirfs said he's worked on. He also said this about blocking for Tom Brady, which was interesting to say the least. And once again, this was on the podcast, The Pivot. We'll get back to defense in a moment and possibly this offensive line because I got another question for you. I kind of was just starstruck, to be honest. I remember training camp with Shaq and Jason Pierre-Paul and just torching me. And I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I was like, I got Tom Brady back there and I can't be the one. He says he remembers Brady pulled me to the side and was like, don't get beat fast and don't get beat inside and we'll be okay. And I was like, sounds good. I can do that. In my head, it was just like fighting your balls off, being a rookie. I didn't really understand the magnitude of it, like how big that was and how big of a job it was to protect Tom Brady.
Peter, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Go for it.
Guess who asked him that question?
Who asked him that question? You asked him.
What are 2 things Tom Brady told you when you took that position as a starter? Don't let him come fast. Don't let him cross your face.
Well, he said this on The Pivot. So, my friend, that's the reason why we got you on here. And I knew you mentioned it. With that being said, also, Bruce Arians had some comments. What did you think of that whole going back to that situation? Because I know it's 2022. going back to the situation, there was a lot of rumors out there that Tom Brady forced them out. And now, once again, BA kind of comes clean. What was your thoughts? What did you hear about BA and why he suddenly retired and gave the job over, and the Bucs organization gave the job over to Todd Bowles?
I got a feeling it was a choice. And again, this is all supposition. It is all looking at the dots and connecting them, and they may be going in a different direction. But
right.
I got a feeling that the conversation was with Brady, are you coming back? And as a sidebar, it was probably that, you know what? I may think about it more if there's a different head coach. I don't think there was that much animosity. You got to understand, Bruce Arians was a quarterback in college, and he had coached guys. You have Ben Roethlisberger in that mess. You got, Kurt Warner out there. It wasn't like he had chopped liver. He knew what he was talking about.
Right.
And, Tom didn't, from what I was hearing, Tom didn't like the fact that he would create plays and they get redlined right away by Arians. No.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing. I don't know. And you know what? When you're redlining the GOAT, that could lead to a little bit of hard feelings. So I think, no, I'll take it back. I believe that wasn't the initial point of the conversation, but it moved to that. It morphed to that. Okay. And it became a quid pro quo.
Okay. All right. So, this is what he had to say and care, once again, of Joe Bucs fan. He said this to basketball coach Mark Gottfried. Health, it got very, very hard for me to stand on the sidelines in 2021. I tore my Achilles like the third week of the season, 90% of my Achilles. So I had those damn high heels on and back pain. And I had to have help get undressed after the games. And it got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I can physically do this. I'll do it for maybe one more year. He also says, because Tom Brady was going to retire, all right, I didn't want to hand it over to somebody without a quarterback. So Tom decided to come back, and I said, phew, perfect. I can step back, give this thing to Todd, knowing that he's got a shot. He's a better shot than he had in New York. It was time for him because one more year wasn't going to do anything for me anyway. But physically, it got really, really hard. And I can't imagine standing on the sidelines for 4 hours now, just with the bad back I have. That part you miss. When I was sitting on the bench during games, I knew it was time. I used to go over to talk to quarterbacks just so I could sit down. There you go. That's the reason right there. That's what he is saying in care of Mark Gottfried and Joe Bucs fans. So,
and you know what, Peter? We would see him at practice or see him in the games, and to say he was walking gingerly is pretty much giving him the benefit of the doubt. He did not move. He did not move well after that Achilles. It was not pretty.
All right, going back to the offensive line, because that's another free agent that the Bucs may be concerned about, and a lot of fans will be concerned about. According to CBS Sports' Pete Prisco, with the top 100 free agents, number 75 would be guard Ben Bredeson. Prisco had Bredeson ranked at number 34, and thinks that there will be a market for him, and the Bucs are unable to bring him back. He says the 27-year-old started at left guard in his only season with the Bucs, did a nice job. He signed a one-year deal with Tampa Bay last season, started all 17 games, and will have a good market. Now, from what you saw, Bredeson, do you think he deserves a contract extension? Or if he prices himself out, could the Bucs look at Elijah Klein, who I believe they drafted mid-round fourth or fifth round pick? Could they go with him and shift him over at left guard? What do you do there with Bredeson and Klein?
Offensive line, Peter, is the toughest position when you're talking about change. And here's why. 5 have to play as 1.
Okay.
And when you start to move people around, and this is what I think Kansas City made the mistake when they played the Bucs in the Super Bowl and when they played the Eagles.
Okay.
They moved their guards to tackles. They didn't just have 2 people. They had 4 people playing a different position against the Bucs. They moved Thuney out to play tackle and had to put in. It takes you at least 2 games for every new starter you have on the offensive line just to get comfortable. So let's say the Bucs have to replace 2 guys. You're not going to see anything probably till November, sometime in October, November, because that's how long it takes. The preseason is worthless. Practice is worthless. You're allowed 20 padded practices. And it's bad football in September.
Right.
We've seen it, Peter. We know it. The tackling is atrocious because you can't practice it. The blocking is terrible because you can't practice it. The only way these guys get better is on-the-job training. And that's why you're seeing a lot of teams. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They played the Bucs and looked terrible. Tampa Bay didn't want to have any parts of that. Nobody wanted any parts of them in December and January. That's for sure.
Right.
So, you want to get some teams early, especially those that are having, multiple offensive line changes.
It's a good point. And then you like to keep that offensive line together, although you kind of wonder what the financial situation would be. But I thought Bretterson did a good job at left guard, unless Jason Light and the organization feels like it's an upgrade with going with Elijah Klein. That may be a possibility. Tell you what, let's go out to the comments here on the Sports Web, because you guys are the lifeblood of it, the web heads out there. And of course, phone lines are open if you want to talk to the legend himself, Leo Haggerty, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Michael on YouTube says, hi, what's going on to you? Louis says, could Deebo Samuel be on the move to Tampa? Are they going to sign Chris Godwin? What could Tyreek Hill make his appearance in a Buccaneer uniform? It's going to be fun off season. It is. I mean, what do you make of this wide receiving market? Let's go around the NFL. We heard Deebo Samuel could be on the trade market. What is San Francisco doing at this point? Cooper Kupp could be on the trade market. Tyreek Hill is unhappy. I mean, connect the dots here, my friend. Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, what's their value? How much are you giving up? And is Tyreek Hill out there? And are the Kansas City Chiefs interested in some of those wide receivers that we just talked about?
You know what, Peter? It's a great question, because I think it's going to be a monetary issue. If Chris Godwin is going to command, let's say, $20 million, and you can get Cooper Kupp for maybe 7 or 8, or you can get Tyreek Hill for 13, 14. Now you got to look at the, you got to get the bean counters involved. You got to sit down and say, okay, are we willing to renegotiate 3 or 4 contracts to keep Chris Godwin, or maybe 1 or 2 to get a Cooper Kupp or a Tyreek Hill, and then use that excess money to go after an edge rusher? So, there's a lot of pieces in play here. And just because the guy's on the trading block doesn't mean you can get them, because I can still remember this, Peter. This was amazing. Back when Tony Dungy was the head coach, and, Randy Moss was coming out. And I walked by the war room, and the door was open.
Right.
They had their first 32 picks on the board for the first round. Guess who wasn't on the board?
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss. He was not coming to Tampa. And I got crucified on the radio because I said Randy Moss is going to go where there's a black coach. And, oh, you're a racist, you're this, you're that. Well, guess where he went? Minnesota. Dennis Green.
Right.
And the owner made that decision because of everything that was going on. The general manager turned to the owner and went yay or yay. And that determined whether they were going to draft Randy Moss.
Right.
And if you got to remember that Chris Carter, who it comes out later had a really bad drug problem in Philly. He gets traded to Minnesota, got his life turned around. Best thing that happened to Randy Moss. He had a pro to look at and see what it's like to be a pro.
Correct.
That's you hear that today, how important it is to have somebody there who can show you what it's like. Let's go to the Los Angeles Lakers real quick. Yeah. They're hoping Luka Doncic looks at LeBron James and says, this is what you need to do to be a pro. Because this guy's playing at 40, and he's got the body of a 21-year-old.
Correct.
It's going to be tough. There's a lot of wide receivers out there, but there's also a lot of teams that need wide receivers.
Why would San Francisco trade Debo, and why would the Rams trade Cooper Kupp? And then we'll get to Stafford, because this was wild. And there was a rumor out there, according to Pro Football Talk. I'm just going to put this out there, and we'll go back to the comments in just a moment. Mike Florio says, although it's not dire as a Deshaun Watson debacle in Cleveland, the Rams have a mess. They could kick the cap can, be extending his contract, but he's 37. At what point will the Rams pivot to someone more than a decade younger than Stafford? For now, it's just a weird vibe. And with several teams looking for quarterbacks, Jets, Steelers, of course, the Jets looking for a quarterback now with Aaron Rodgers not being there. You connected the dots with the Rams, Steelers, Browns, Titans, Raiders, Giants, and Saints. The Rams likely will be open for business. There was a wild rumor out there that Stafford could be traded to the New York Giants. In what the Rams
would want. A family member there, I think, Peter. That's the latest.
What would it be? A third overall pick, which supposedly the Rams really like Shedeur Sanders. So what do we make of once again, it seems too. It's real busy right now. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of main players that could be traded at this point. I get it's just rumors, but Stafford to the Giants for the third overall pick to the Rams, does that make sense to you?
No, that's a little high.
Okay.
That's just me. Peter, the one thing we are missing here, Brock Purdy.
Right. Do you re-sign him, by the way? Is San Francisco forced to re-sign him? Because Joe Montana had comments, says he needs to be re-signed. Do you re-sign Brock Purdy? Why or why not?
Not for the money they're talking.
Okay.
That's the problem. And guess what? Shanahan has always been enamored with Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
Always. He is a very cerebral quarterback. And it's coming out now how hurt Kirk Cousins was during the season.
No.
And everybody's saying, well, why didn't he say it? You're never going to tell anybody.
Sure.
Baker Mayfield was so banged up in Cleveland that it got to a point they had to release him. And I felt sorry for the guy because he had to play hurt because they had nobody else.
Right.
And the biggest problem was with his teammates, he's a god. With the organization, he's now an albatross. We got to get rid of him.
Right.
And I think what's going to happen is that you're going to see eventually, and I think the whole thing determines on Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets traded, that's where I'm not giving up the third overall pick for a 37-year-old quarterback, especially when I got so many pieces around there.
Yeah, that seems like a crazy rumor to me, and that would be crazy on the Giants' part, although you don't know what the Giants are doing at this point when it comes to quarterback because they don't have one. Of course, re-signing Daniel Jones didn't work out. Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cullitz, whatever the hell he is, he didn't work out. So they need a quarterback, and there's talk they may not necessarily like the quarterbacks in this draft. Going back to Aaron Rodgers, are you surprised at how this has turned out, or really this is not a surprise to you because it's a piss poor organization in the New York Jets? The Jets should have benched him before he got the coach fired, and his skills have deteriorated. Does he have any value at this point? Does Aaron Rodgers go to a team like the Rams, or where could you see Aaron Rodgers go to, or do you think he just walks away and retires, in your opinion?
Oh, he'll go somewhere, and I just hope it's not in the NFC because he's still got gas in the tank.
Okay.
Here's the problem. He tore that Achilles bad. And he's coming back trying to get back. And let's be honest, the Jets are a dumpster fire. They're just they won't just let him walk away. They're just going, okay, this and that, like he was. Somebody reported today that, when he walked out of that room, it looked like he was walking to the gallows. Why would you even put that out as an organization? That's just like, okay, let it go.
Right.
But this guy's got more stories than anything. In fact, they were talking about, trying to ban him to go on the Pat McAfee show because he did it, weekly. They wanted him to give that up. Well, guess what? They don't want to give it up. They want to be able to come back and talk about him. So it's crazy.
It is crazy. I know you're watching the hockey game right now. What's the update on the game?
2-1 Sweden.
Oh, okay. So
And the United States got a lot of guys hurt that aren't playing, and a couple guys hurt already this here,
okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the comments here. Amy Lyman says, I love when Brady was quarterback, but I haven't really watched much football since my husband passed. That was something I enjoyed very much with him. Well, hopefully we can give you an opportunity to get back and to like the Bucs again. Sorry about your husband passing away. David says, so there's any truth to the rumor that Chris Godwin is going to Jacksonville? Just a rumor right now. Of course, free agency. The dinner bell is not until what, March? The beginning of March there, first or a couple weeks in March, and you got the combine. And combine, everybody has to watch that because that's when the deals can be made. That's when the general managers and the owners, especially the general managers, can get together and start talking some turkey when it comes to trade. Do we make a move for Kupp or another receiver if you don't re-sign Godwin? And this is a good question by Logan. Thanks a lot there. Once again, Facebook stars are open, YouTube super chats. If you love the content here on the Sports Web, once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter, along with Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions. I go back to last year. Bucs lose Evans, Bucs lose Godwin. You have Sterling Shepard, Jalen McMillan, Raheem Jarrett. Not a lot of depth there. So if you lose Godwin, I get it. You have McMillan, but you still need another wide receiver. Do you make a run for a Cooper Kupp, a Deebo Samuel, depending on price? Or do you stay away from that and once again go into the draft and get somebody young?
I think you look at an edge rusher. Again, offense sells tickets, defense wins Super Bowls.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's, everybody can say, that's not the way it's happening. I say, look at the last 4 or 5 Super Bowls.
Right.
Defense.
Right.
In Kansas City in the last one, they hold San Francisco to what, 19 points, 22 points, something like that.
Sure.
You win games when you keep a team in the 20s.
Right.
Because you're going to score. But yeah, it's just one thing about Jason Light is he will make sense out of something when it doesn't look like it makes sense. He looks at what's happening with his team, and he looks at what he needs to do to move up in his division,
right?
Move up in his conference. He doesn't care about what's going on in the AFC. All I got to worry about is one team if I get to the Super Bowl. And I'll worry about that then. How do I beat the Lions? How do I beat the Eagles? How do I beat the Commanders? And I beat them once. What did we do right, and what are we doing wrong now? What needs to happen? The good news, Peter, is they're not doing a whole lot wrong.
Right.
They're just a player, I'd say 2 or maybe 3 away from really making a strong, deep run in the playoffs. But again, the right people have to stay healthy.
I got to finish up with this because I know you got to get out of here. This is from Rock Riley's podcast, The Rock Stops Here. He talked to Lewis Murphy, former Gator receiver, former Bucs receiver. He had this to say about Todd Bowles. I personally know Todd Bowles. I did a coaching internship with Todd Bowles for like 4 months, and I think he's a great coach. I think we need to give a little grace. We're in the playoffs every year with him. We have a chance, and we beat some really good teams this year. We beat the Eagles this year, beat the Lions. A perfect record doesn't happen. Murphy added that the Bowles has a stoic style, but there is a varying coaching approaches, and he said the Bucs overcome injuries and top shelf players and still won the division. Injuries got us. So you got a coach that's dealing with all these injuries, man. Hey, Bucs fans, I love you guys. Lay off of Todd Bowles. You agree with this assessment by Mr. Murphy here on Todd Bowles? Once again, people are talking about, Bowles this year with the pressure and the expectations. Is he going to be on the hot seat again? Should he be on the hot seat again? And should Bucs fans give him more grace, in your opinion?
Peter, I'm going to answer that a little bit fast backwards, if you know what I mean.
Please do.
The Philadelphia Eagles had 3 home games. They probably made for Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, conservatively, a $200 million windfall. What has Todd Bowles done the last 2 years? He's given the Glazers home playoff games. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Keep in mind, in the NFL, during the regular season, you share revenue. You stole your luxury box. That's yours as the home team.
Yeah.
But 80% of the basic seats you keep that revenue, 20% goes to the visiting team.
Right.
In the playoffs, you keep everything. So I would say that by having a playoff game this year, that was conservatively probably $80 to $100 million that the Glazers found in free money.
Right.
You're not going to fire a guy who's getting you home playoff games. Yeah, you want to get to the Super Bowl, but I can remember the year the Green Bay Packers won it. Guess how much money the Packers made on that? Zero, because they played 3 away games. That's a killer.
That is a killer. It's absolutely correct about that. And Bulls continues to win this division. There are high expectations. There are questions about clock management, but overall, I think Murphy is correct. We talked about it on the show with all the injuries they had. Kalijah Cansey being out, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Luke Haggerty. I mean, the list goes on, and to still have this team at 10 wins. And listen, you can sit here and talk about how they should have had 11 or 12. They could have played better versus Atlanta, which they could. They could have gone for the 2-point conversion versus Kansas City. Hell, they could have beaten the Washington Commanders in the first round. But at the end of the day, he did a damn good job. And I definitely think Murphy is right that Bucs fans should give him some grace. Leo Haggerty, we appreciate the time, my friend. Okay.
Talk to you Wednesday, Peter. All
right, there you go, Mr. Leo Haggerty on Wednesday with us, double dipping with him. So the phone lines are open. We'll read the comments. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. So, Logan, going back to the question there, I guess it depends on price. And if you lose Godwin at that point, Jalen McMillan steps into that role. And then who do you got to get? Can you go out there and get a Cup? Can you go out there and get a Deebo Samuel? How much is it going to cost? Not only with draft picks, how much is it going to cost salary-wise at that point? Could it be a need at that juncture? So it's a great question. I definitely think there are going to be teams out there that are going to be trying to trade for Deebo Samuel and, of course, Cooper Kupp. The problem is with both of those wide receivers, like Godwin here the last couple of years, they can't stay healthy. So what is their value? At this point, we shall see. Let him test the market, says Louis on YouTube there. Thank you very much. Hey, Pete, what's going on? Tribal Troll.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to Louis here. I say the Raiders because he was Tom Brady's favorite target. Definitely. I mean, again, this is the connect the dots season, if you will, with John Spytek with the Raiders and, of course, Tom Brady with the minority corner. Yeah. Let's go out to Roger Shue. Justin Fields to the Jets is what I'm hearing. Now, if I'm Justin Fields, I would just stay away from the Jets at this point. Stay with Pittsburgh, go to another team, but who knows? If you get a starting quarterback job, whether it's with the Jets or not, he's going to be running for his life. That's not a great organization, not a great offensive line. I don't think they have the weapons at this point. If I'm Justin Fields, I stay clear away. Over the weekend, Ben says from Las Vegas, I just finished Cobra Kai on Netflix and watched the Daytona 500. Appreciate the comment.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Roger Shue. Hurry Up Raw is on Africa 101 on YouTube. Appreciate it. Mr. Blake is in the building. Go Bucks. Go Bucks. Go Bucks.
How about them Bucks, baby?
Go Bucks. There we go. Let's go out to Roger Shue here. Bears have 60 million cap space and could be as much as 100 million. Keenan Allen is gone. It'll be interesting to see what the rest of the National Football League, the teams, especially the Chicago Bears with Ben Johnson, new coaching staff. Hope springs eternal for your Bears fans out there, Jacksonville Jaguar fans out there, Dallas Cowboys. Who knows what any of those teams are doing at this point, but it will be an interesting offseason with all the rumors that are going on and all the prime-time players that could be traded. I can't remember a time where you have Deebo Samuel, where you have Cooper Kupp, where you have Myles Garrett out there, possibly Max Crosby, Micah Parsons, Matt Stafford. I mean, these are just primetime players that could be traded in this offseason. It could come down to draft night. It could come down to the combine. Like I said, Evans, Godwin, and McMillan would be dangerous, says Christopher Cole. Absolutely agree.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Sue and Webb Broyles. Hey, Peter, what's going on? How you doing?
Yes.
Let's go out to Dave here. I think looking at Las Vegas and Jacksonville, Las Vegas has no quarterback, aren't close to being a playoff team. Jacksonville is going through a partial rebuild. They're going through a perpetual rebuild all the time there. Chris wants to play in the playoffs. Also, Baker was feeding him a lot before the injury. Correct. If you look at the numbers before he got hurt, 50 catches, leading the National Football League at the time. 50 catches, 576 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns. So you're still in that offense. I get it. Cohen has moved on to Jacksonville, but you got Josh Grizzard there. Same type of system, worked on third down. We know how great Godwin was on third down. It makes sense, once again, to connect the dots. On top of it, I've been told that not only Godwin is happy with the organization, has a great relationship with Mike Evans, but he's happy to live in the Tampa Bay area with his wife, where they're living right now. So you look at it. A lot of people go, well, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, he may have went to Penn State, but is that a great area to live in? It's cold up there. You've been in the hot weather. That's a tough transition. I get it. There could be some money there, but do you want to go there? Do you want to go to Vegas? Vegas, nice area. No quarterback. I'm not sure. I get it. Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not throwing him the ball. Jacksonville over Tampa. I get it. Again, teams can overpay and change, everything at the end of the day. But Chris Godwin, just knowing him, knowing what he's all about, and then also knowing Jason Light and what this Tampa Bay Buccaneer organization has done in the past, where they take care of their own players. Case in point, you take care of Baker Mayfield, you re-sign him. Case in point, you take care of Mike Evans, who most likely will end with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Case in point, you take care of Levante David. They take care of their own players. Antoine Winfield Jr. comes to mind. Tristan Wirfs comes to mind. Players like that. And the players around the league are looking at this Buccaneer organization and saying, you know what, this is a destination now. Because the Bucs are only a couple players away. That window is open for the championship. I really believe that. They're a couple players away here. And, prospective players are looking at this, and they're seeing how this organization treats their own players, and they're saying, you know what, that's a class organization. I want to be a part of that. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised. Chris Godwin sucks and is made of glass anyways. Cam Decker, as always, name a season he hasn't been injured in. I'll wait. There's plenty of seasons he hasn't been injured in. Cam, dudes gets injured more than Winston throws interceptions. Nonsense. Yaya needs to bend too. Absolutely good comment there, Christopher. Oh, yeah. Let's go out to Dave here. Cam Decker, really Godwin is a tough wide receiver. His injuries were both from crap plays. One was a shot to his knee. The other was from a hip drop tackle. Please. He's like glass. I mean, Cameron, you act like he's Anthony Davis at this point, which, by the way, there's a report out there that the Dallas Mavericks are looking at the trade, trying to rescind it. No, you should have checked out Anthony Davis to see if he was hurt or not, because the guy's always hurt. That guy is made of glass. That guy is Mr. Glass. Chris Godwin is not. He is not. Mr. Webb here, Chris Godwin is made of glass, always gets injured every other year. We could do better to move on from him. We have Evans, Palmer, Shepard, and McMillan. Evans, yes. Palmer has never really realized his potential at this point. Shepard, inconsistent. McMillan, very good. Pete showed the Tesla. Thank you, Cam. Appreciate it. The first injury was a dirty hit by the Saints. Absolutely. Christopher Cole. Klein was a 6th-round pick. Could he be in the future of a left guard at this point if the Bucs decide that Bretterson is too expensive? Again, this comes down to market. This comes down to evaluation process, but you would have to say this offensive line is one of the best in the league, and they gave Baker Mayfield plenty of time to throw the ball. That's why Baker was able to throw for 41 touchdowns and was able for this offense to steer this offense into a top 5 unit, because the offensive line gave him enough time. Now you look at it, if Bretterson prices himself out, is Elijah Klein the next one that comes in and could be that left guard? And you never want to change your offensive line around. The good teams, they keep their offensive lines intact. The Philadelphia Eagles, case in point, great example. Big offensive line. They retooled it a little bit, but more than likely they keep their offensive line intact. That's what it's all about. I'm not reading that. Ron, Mr. Marine himself. Hi, Peter. Leo, always good to see you guys. Always good to see you. Cam says Ray is the nicest alphabet person I've ever met. Cam, would you trade Rodgers for Mayfield if he came to Tampa? Absolutely not. I can't even believe this is being talked about at this point. Baker Mayfield, You look at his season last year, 41 touchdowns. Again, he had 16 interceptions. He had some fumbles, which, again, were his fault to a certain degree because you're holding the ball too long. Also, it could be on the wide receivers because they're not able to get that separation. I definitely think Mayfield is an upper echelon quarterback. I think Rodgers is on the downside of his career. The Jets figured that out. They found it out. That's why they're moving on. And there's going to be a team out there that's desperate that says, you know what, I think we can kick the tires on him and he'll be, decent. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has anything left in the tank. I disagree with Leo Haggerty. I don't think he has anything left in the tank. I think he should retire at this point and move on. Let me go out to Cam. Why this man looks like Mark Cuban with Bill Gates. I don't even know what you're talking about at this point. Peter, if I buy you a watch from Walmart, you wear it for one of your shows. No, not at all. No.
This guy sucks.
No, I'm not. So what do you think about the Chris Godwin rumors? Much to do about nothing. Are you concerned? What's your concern level with Chris Godwin not being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer this year from 1 to 10? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other question of the night, what did you do this weekend without football? Do you have any care about the NBA All-Star game? Which, Draymond Green, who plays in the league still, says it's boring. All they do is shoot threes. Let's go out to the Tribal Troll.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to Roger Shue. Welcome to the Evolution, leading it off tonight.
All right, great show so far, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
So, as far as Godwin goes, yes, I think he's going to go.
Okay, where's he going to go?
I don't know.
Don't say Chicago, because I know you've been saying Chicago for the last couple of years. You don't want Chris Godwin?
We don't need him.
You don't want Godwin. You want Godwin at 28 years old.
No, he's too fragile.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Just my opinion.
So you wouldn't rather have Chris Godwin over Keenan Allen?
No, Keenan Allen's got to go. Keenan Allen's old and slow, and yeah, he's already he's gone.
But you wouldn't have Chris Godwin. Who do you want at this point?
I'd take Cooper Kupp.
You take Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is older than Chris Godwin, by the way. You know that, right?
I don't care. He's proven. He's durable. He's not durable.
He's not
fragile.
He's not durable, bro. Ever since Cooper Kupp has got that contract extension, he's been injured. And he's 31 years old.
He got paid. That's why he's injured.
No.
Oh, my toe hurts.
He's getting older now. He is 31 years old. Okay. He will be 32 in June. And he's not been durable. He's actually been more injured than Chris Godwin. And you just told me you would want Cooper Kupp, who's 32 years old in June, over Chris Godwin. All I have to say is,
this guy sucks.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so Keenan Allen's going to be gone. Tevin Jenkins is going to be gone.
Okay.
Bears are right now at $60 million in cap space. Depending on the moves they make, it could be as much as $100 million.
Okay.
So new coach, it looks like they're going all in to me.
Well, seems like they're always going all in at this point. And you have to, if you have all that money, you have to spend it, but you have to spend it wisely at this point. So.
Well, that's the other thing. New coaching staff. I think it's going to be a much, much different team than what we're used to seeing.
Why do you say that?
Oh, that kind of money. Look at the players that are available out there.
Well, they spent a lot of money last year too, didn't they?
It was close. But they didn't have the coaching staff that they have in place now that knows what they're doing and what they want to do.
What's the biggest need for this Chicago Bears team at this point?
Oh, God, offensive line.
Offensive line? Okay.
All day long.
Okay. Well, there's some offensive linemen in free agency, so we'll see if they start to pay some of that money for offensive linemen, although you can't just go out there and get anybody. You got to go out there and get somebody that fits. You got to get somebody that's relatively young at this point. And we'll go through, some of the free agents that maybe the Chicago Bears will be interested in. What did you do this weekend without football?
What did I do this weekend? I watched two great wrestling shows, NXT and then Grand Slam from Australia.
So you didn't, okay. How was that for you?
It was great.
Yeah. So
great shows.
You didn't miss football at all?
No.
Okay. All right.
You had the XFL or UFL starting in 2 weeks?
Do people watch that?
They have some of the best games you'll watch. They're very, very fun, very entertaining.
I mean, that'd be another question here. I mean, I get it, football is gone, but do you guys actually watch that? I mean, I get it.
I do.
Okay.
I watch all 8 games.
Okay, you watch it. Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I might be the minority, but I watch it. It's football.
Okay, all right, good stuff. Anything else?
What did you do this weekend?
Well, I worked on Valentine's Day. I went out and drove. I made some good money. Made about $200 in 4 hours, which is always a good thing. And then had some business meetings over the weekend. I watched the hockey game, which was kind of cool. Nations, the face off. That was great with the USA beating the hell out of Canada, especially after the Canadians booed the national anthem.
Yeah, they've been doing that for weeks.
Well, it's good to
see the game went 2 seconds into the game. They dropped the puck and they dropped the gloves and started fighting 2 seconds into the game.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. So
and we beat their ass physically.
Yep.
So yeah, it was good.
It was good. So I need an update on this hockey game right now. What's going on with this hockey game? I'm trying to.
I don't know.
All right, 2-1 right now. Into the second period, Sweden over the United States. So we'll keep you abreast of that situation. Keep you up to date. All right, what else?
That's really about it. I mean, let's talk about Bowles. I think is I think it's wait and see. I'm not saying he should get fired. But, how many years in a row are you going to win? Yeah, you're in the crappy division. You're the champions of a crap division.
Still division.
When's he going to take it to the next step?
Well, I think
the next level.
I think a lot of Bucs fans want him to do that. And I think he's also criticized by a lot of Bucs fans because, like Murphy said, he's so stoic. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's not John Gruden.
He's never been that type of a coach. He's never going to be.
He's not BA. But I think some of that stuff is just a little bit overrated, if you will. I think what Bucs fans should be looking at is the fact that he has been a consistent winner. There are some mistakes still being made. You're exactly right.
He's a consistent winner in the crappiest division of football.
Well,
I mean, let's be honest.
Well, let's also be honest. It's probably not the crappiest division in football.
You won the division with what? 8 wins?
No, you won the division with 10-7. You won with 8. You won with 8, 9, and then 10. He's progressively gotten better every year.
But you haven't progressively gotten any further into the playoffs.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Playoffs?
That's a fair point. But also, you had injuries. If you have Chris Godwin, do you think
every team has injuries? Peter, come on.
Still. You still think if you had Chris Godwin, you had some of these guys during that year that maybe you have a better record. I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying you have to give him some grace. I definitely think it goes back to what Louis Murphy said. I think some fans should give him some grace. But what they're going to be looking at is what you're going to be looking at this point, the expectation level of, yes, trying to get out of that first round. You did get out of that first round by beating Philadelphia. You lost to the Lions that year. You lose in the first round to Washington. So, yes, I do think the pressure will be on, especially if the Bucs make a financial commitment to go out there and get an edge rusher and make this team better, because the championship window is open. And yes, you have to correct some of those mistakes with coming out flat in a lot of those games, with the decision-making on clock management, with some of the decisions that hopefully can be corrected. And
if I was the Glazers, I'd give him an ultimatum. I'm like, look, you have this season, you get past the first round, you stay. Otherwise, you're gone.
Well, I think he has to do a lot more, especially if they financially commit to free agency. They go out there, that the expectations will be sky high at this point, and you hope the offense doesn't take a dip because Liam Cohen is not there anymore. And I would like to see Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan be on the field together, and we'll see how that works out. But you're exactly right. The expectations will be high because if they invest in the money there, any way it goes, you're going to have to definitely get out of the first round. Agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
an update from Monday Night Raw. Right now in the main event, we have Seth Rollins against Finn Balor to qualify for the Elimination Chamber.
How do you think that's going to work out?
I don't know. It's been great for the 30 seconds it's been on.
Okay. All right.
These guys are killing each other.
All right. Good stuff.
All right. So go Bucks. And great show. I'll keep watching, and I'll see you in the morning.
All right, man. Appreciate you as always. Right there, Mr. Roger Shu. He said, "Go Bucks." He said, "Go
How
Bucks."
about them Bucks, baby?
He said, "Go Bucks." All right, good stuff. Let's get back to the comments here. Open phone lines if you want to get in there. I see Sun Devil Dave there on YouTube. I see Cam Decker, as always, stirring it up. As always, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go back out to these comments here. Let's go out to Cam. He says, if I buy you an Apple Watch, would you wear it for a show? I guess. I mean, if you're going to buy me an Apple Watch, I still like my Rolex. I'm going to stick with my Rolex at this point. Appreciate the offer. Let's go out to the Marine here. I'm surprised you haven't called in, Marine. Hopefully you're watching there overseas. Cam Decker, what are you on? Drugs, alcohol? Cam is just a troll at this point. I'm on cocaine. It's wonderful. Well, congratulations there, Cam. Appreciate that. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. Bears don't spend money. Well, they've spent some money in free agency here the last couple of years. We'll see how much more money they spend and how much they're trying to improve their team. They've improved their coaching staff there, in my opinion, with Ben Johnson taking the job. I get it. There's some uncertainty, but he did a hell of a job with the Lions there calling plays. Now it's a different transition. You also have Eric Bieniemy on that coaching staff, so we'll see how that all plays out. It'll be interesting. Dave Ruffalo, Sun Devil Dave, says, watch Cobra Kai the last 5 episodes. I missed that. I probably need to watch Cobra Kai at this point, but that's the question for the night. What did you guys do without football for this weekend? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's see here. Let's go out to Cam again. Peter put the All-Star jersey behind you. Let's see it. Dave says U.S. already is in the final Thursday in hockey against Canada. So that is a certainty. So everybody wanted to see that. It'll be great. Bulls is 1-3 playoff record. I mean, it goes back to the comments from Lewis Murphy again in care of the Rock Stops Here podcast. Also, Rock Riley has a new sports talk show on WDAE there, 620 95.3. I believe it's on Saturdays. I'm not sure what time it is, but check it out. This week it was like 5 to 6 because it was after FanFest. They were doing a good job of covering that. I'll throw that out there. Are you looking forward to the Tampa Bay Rays? What are you looking forward to at this point? I think the stadium talk has really killed any excitement, in my opinion, for this season, because I would like this to be done and over with. I'm tired of the ownership. I'm tired of this group downing the fan base here in the Tampa Bay area. It's either you want to stick with this deal with St. Pete or you're going to move on at this point. I would like some resolution because we have been talking about this stadium deal forever. It seems like for the last 10 to 15 years, and it just it's like a broken record. I'm tired of it. And again, it takes away from the excitement of the year. And I know, pitchers and catchers are reporting. I know there's expectations. The talk is that Shane McClanahan is going to be the opening day starter against, I believe it is the Rockies. And that is in Tampa at Legends Field right there. So, not a surprise. McClanahan coming off that injury there, how effective that pitching staff looks really exciting. The question mark is in the lineup. Can the Rays score enough runs? Oh, by the way, water is wet, and the Rays still don't have a new stadium. It's always a thing with this team. Can they score enough runs? They certainly seem like they got the pitching staff there. They got the bullpen. We'll see what they do in that lineup, and we'll be talking more about the Tampa Bay Rays. But are you looking forward to that? Did you care about the NBA All-Star Game? Did you watch the NBA All-Star Game? Did you watch the slam dunk contest there with Mac McClung, who is a G leaguer for the Orlando Magic, 3-time dunk champion, jumping over cars, doing this, doing that. Pretty amazing stuff there. But do you care? Did you care? What's worse at this point? Is it the NBA All-Star Game with the format they have? Is it the NFL Pro Bowl? I love what hockey's doing right now. You've got to love this. You've got to love the intensity of all these teams playing for their nations, playing with pride. What do they have to earn? They're earning pride. They want to win. And I love USA coming out and fighting Canada there in the first 3 minutes of the game. You got to love that. Got to absolutely love that. Hockey's gotten it right. Baseball, not baseball, football, it's entertaining to a certain degree with, the flag football. It's entertaining. It's not tackle football. It's not the football we're traditionally, but it's entertaining. And the NBA All-Star game is not good. It's not good. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So that's my question for the night. What did you guys do this weekend? First weekend without football. How concerned are you about losing Chris Godwin? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's see here. Let's go out to Cam. Who's our quarterback for the USA hockey team this year? I don't know what you're saying. Chat is boring without me. And Rays are total trash. I'm going to say that. I don't think
This guy sucks.
I don't think they're trash. I don't.
Shut up!
I think we've had this discussion before. It's all about how many runs you can score, but they definitely have the pitching staff there with McClanahan and Pepio. They got some exciting Taj Bradley. I mean, there's exciting pieces there. And I want, again, to get excited about this Tampa Bay Rays team. But what continues to take away from the momentum of that is the ownership continuing to talk about the stadium situation and never getting it done and thinking it's going to get done and not getting done. And who knows if it will ever get done. And I implore Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, to please allow or force Stu Sternberg to sell this team. Sell it to an ownership group that cares about their fan base. Sell it to an ownership group that cares about spending money in free agency and making the necessary moves to make the Rays not only a playoff contender, but a championship winning ball club. Please, baby Jesus, Rob Manfred, make Stu Sternberg sell this team. 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. So we'll continue to talk about the Bucks, continue to get your experiences here, and then we may just wrap it up for the night. We'll be back on Wednesday because the roommates are sleeping at this point, and I don't want to wake them up. Now, there has been some other things to go. We're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This from Andrew Buller Russ of Sportsnot.com believes Chase Young would be a guy that the Bucs would actually add. We've seen some of this stuff from Pewter Report. Buller Russ says the Buccaneers will need some defensive replacements, reinforcements, and they can't exactly pay top dollar yet. That doesn't mean they still can't add some impact players. This is Harry's guy, Harry the Greek here. Chase Young had a mini bounce back season in 2024, recording 5.5 sacks after playing in all 17 games, but starting none. He has double-digit sack potential if used correctly, and Todd Bowles may be perfect for the job. Of course, you got Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Anthony Nelson set to be free agents at this point. Both of those guys. Nelson could be brought back as a rotational piece. JTS, I think the Bucs are ready to move on. Of course, they boast Kalijah Cansey there. Vita Vea, both registered 7+ sacks in 2024. And Yaya Diaby, 4.5 sacks. But for this year, was hurt. So that definitely hurt that situation. Of course, Diaby has something to prove. Chase Young still being young at 25 years old. Also says this, Buller Russ says a linebacker that the Bucs could add to be the opposite to Levante David would be Dre Greenlaw. He says linebacker Dre Greenlaw also has Pro Bowl potential, and if he can return to health, Tampa Bay could upgrade over pending free agent Levante David. Of course, Greenlaw is coming off the worst year of his career after suffering a torn Achilles in Super Bowl 58, yet his consecutive years with 120-plus tackles operating alongside Fred Warner certainly suggests he's capable of playing at a high level when he is healthy. Of course, Greenlaw will be out there as a free agent, it seems like. So would the Bucs be interested in kicking the tires on that? That could be a low cost option at this point. I would still say Savasier Dennis is definitely in the Bucs plans at this point. The problem is he's not able to stay healthy, so you're not sure. But when Dennis was able to stay healthy, this defense, especially at the linebacking situation, was a lot better. Let's go out to the comments here. Let's go out to Roger Shue. There's only one troll in the house, and it's me. You will acknowledge me.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to Cam here. The Rays owner is a DEI plant. He needs to go. I don't know where to go with you, Cam. I really don't know where to go with you, Cam, sometimes. Some of the comments that you make are just ridiculous at this point. Appreciate Petite Goddess there watching on Instagram Live. I see the Hill Mark also is watching. So Frankie from Wisconsin, good stuff there. Buckaholics and Kool-Aid filled Corey there. And of course, we're on Instagram Live, YouTube super chats are open. Facebook stars are open. We love that. Tim, thanks a lot for tuning in as always. So are those some of the players that the Bucs could be looking at, of course, in free agency? We will definitely see, but those are some good candidates. You know, Harry has talked about it. Chase Young, still young, pardon the pun, 25 years old, 5.5 sacks, didn't start, but played in all 17 games. So that's a good thing. Is that somebody that if you're the Bucs or if you're Bucs fans, you would want to see? And I put that out there last week, and I was surprised because I thought people would, go for Trey Hendrickson, go for Josh Sweat, but the majority of, the responses on Facebook, on social media was Myles Garrett. So always a good thing to be agreed upon. And I think, yes, they may have to give, and it just depends on what the Browns are going to do, because they're saying they're not going to do it. They're not going to trade. That may be a negotiating ploy. They may be waiting for a team to give up 2 first-round picks, or give up 2 picks and a player, something along those lines. But they could definitely dig in, and Myles Garrett could sit out and hold out and make things just worse for the Cleveland Browns than they already are, especially with the Deshaun Watson situation, which is a complete and total disaster at this point, if you look at it. And I get it, hindsight is 2020, but there were a bunch of red flags out there, same red flags that's going on right now with Justin Tucker, and 7 more massage therapists that have come out and said that there were some just unbelievably sexual, just nature things that he did. They're uncomfortable for me to even talk about at this point, that we had with Watson. And you just kind of wonder when the NFL is going to step in. But those red flags were out there. Watson was suspended for 11 games. They were going off the potential of what he did with the Houston Texans. It has not worked out. They gave up on Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield has turned into a franchise quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, and they signed Watson to the biggest contract in NFL history, which, Leo Ward is in albatross at this point. So it is a mess in Cleveland, and Myles Garrett doesn't want to be a part of that mess. He doesn't want to be a part of it. So you kind of wonder who is going to win that standoff. More than likely, players always win over organizations. And it just will be interesting to see who is going to be in that trade discussion. Do the Philadelphia Eagles, with possibly losing Josh Sweat, do they replace Sweat with Myles Garrett? Could you imagine Myles Garrett being on the Philadelphia Eagles? I cannot, but that would be unbelievable in itself. That has been talked about. Can you imagine Myles Garrett not on the Bucs but on the Washington Commanders? That would be crazy in itself. Those are the type of moves that these teams are willing to make, because the Eagles want to stay there. They don't want to be a one-hit wonder. They want to continue, and you would have to feel like they would be a favorite with Garrett being on that defensive line, being able to get after quarterbacks in the NFC East. You would think that the Washington Commanders, they're also in that Bucs position with a rookie quarterback now, second-year quarterback, the success, having that defense there. You pair them up with Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, you put Myles Garrett there. That makes that defensive line spectacular. And that they want to make those moves. So there will be competition out there. But I would say this, that there is some type, and I don't know what kind of relationship there is with Baker Mayfield and Myles Garrett. And would Baker go to Garrett and say, hey, do you want to come to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Is Garrett paying attention to what this organization does with their players? It depends on, how much money you're going to get, how many premium picks. And Tampa's not a bad place to live. I'm just throwing it out there. And they're not that far away. Bucs fans. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go back out to the comments here. Think about it. All these alphabet people. I'm just not reading these comments anymore. I'm not doing it anymore with you. I'm not reading any more comments from you, Cam. I'm going to try not to. So what do you guys think of not only the Chris Godwin rumors there, Lewis Murphy's comments, going back to this, I thought this was great. He says, so you got a coach that's dealing with all these injuries, man. And hey, Bucs fans, I love you guys, but lay off of Bowles. Lay off of them. What do you think of those comments? Let's go out to Mr. Alex Nunster. Haven't heard from you in a while. I know that you're pumped up for Rays season right around the corner here. I got to ask you, what did you do this weekend without football? Welcome to the Evolution.
I actually am back to playing with my softball team, just something I do on the weekends. But
cool.
I'm actually just wanted to talk about a couple things, man. I'm actually going to for once skip Bucs football, but talk about some hockey and some baseball if you have a second. But
go for it.
What do you know? We're back to spring training again, man. The Rays are still in the loop of what's going on with the stadium deal.
What do you make of the stadium deal? What do you make of this? Do you think they're going to be able to figure this out? What's your opinion of this, Alex?
My opinion is that the Rays have a March 31st deadline. I do believe that that the county and the city has done more than enough. People and Rays fans need to remember this has been going on for a decade, 10 plus years. This stadium, has been talked about for a very, very, very long time. And I make of it as based off what my thoughts are. And here's my thoughts. You cannot wrap my head around the fact that Stu Sternberg is going to sit there and say, after two major hurricanes, that a 30-day delay and Chris Lavada, I think that's his last name, a county commissioner.
I believe it is, yes.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm going to repeat his words, and I'm going to back his story up. You cannot explain to me how a 30-day delay can cause a $151 million increase in stadium costs. Number two,
right,
is if that was the case and you still want a deal done, why are we still waiting on a deal? You're wasting even more time. I think the county approved their funding. I think it's been 50, 60 days now. If money was an issue, why are we still waiting? Here's my thoughts on the stadium, and then I'll give you my outlook on the Rays on what they're going to do this year. But I think the reality is Stu don't have the money.
Okay.
I think the deal will never be done in St. Pete. Now, what's going on in Tampa? What's going on in Orlando? There's some stuff going on that the Orlando Dreamers are
nonsense.
Dreaming
they don't have the
thinking
money
about a deal.
They don't have the money. That's nonsense. They're dreaming. It's nonsense.
What I will say is this, Peter, is I do not believe that MLB and Major League Commissioner Rob Manfred will allow this team to leave the Tampa Bay region.
Agree.
There is so much money that this region has when it comes to baseball. Not saying in particular just Rays fans, because I don't care what people say. People are going to sit there and say that Rays do not have a fan base. I'm going to pause you right there, and I'm going to sit there and say that's incorrect. That's false. For the last 10 years, and I promise you, as a season ticket holder, I've heard and seen from people myself say these words. As soon as a deal gets done, and we know for a fact that we're not going to go season after season, that at any moment you have an MLB owner that can yank baseball out of your hands at any second of any time and move this team somewhere else.
Yeah.
Once the deal gets done, I truly wholeheartedly believe that stadium will refill. This has been going on for 10 plus years, 10, 15 plus years, if you want to really, really talk about it. But
yes,
giving you my outlook real quick about the season, the Rays didn't really make a lot of splash moves.
Well, let me go back to the fan stuff. So for me and you kind of agree on this, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again on this show. I feel like they would have more of a fan base if, one, you had more consistent, spending habits of, keeping your fan favorites intact. You're not getting rid of guys over and over again. And I get it. It may work for them. And yes, they are fifth in wins in this time span, but they have no World Series championships. With that being said, not going out in free agency, keeping your own guys, not going out in free agency, getting any superstars, being one of the lowest spending organizations in all Major League Baseball will not help. But what makes it worse is Stu continues to down the fan base in the Tampa Bay area, and it has caught up with him, whether it's trying to move to Montreal, whether it's having comments that we can't sustain. What was it about a year ago? We can't swallow because we're not going to spend $90 million. $90 million. You have the Dodgers spending $500 million, nearly $1 billion on players because they want to win World Series championships. And Andrew Freeman is a part of what's going on right now. And you have to be happy for the Dodgers because the Dodgers are taking advantage of the system. You have to be happy for the Yankees. You have to be happy for the Mets and the Red Sox. And again, spending as much money as possible doesn't always translate, but it gives you that chance. And the Rays as an organization have never done that. And furthermore, their ownership is terrible to their fans. And that is what's caught up against Rays fans. And yes.
And Peter, you said something extra, like on the point just a second ago, is about the fan favorites. It's tough. It really is tough. I'd say, when I watched Rosarena leave last year at the deadline,
sad.
That was heartbreaking. You know me very well. I was a season ticket holder in Randyland, 141 front row, just something we did last year and the last couple seasons. And it's been a blast, man. But it is so true that it really is hard to keep fans in there when you got the threats of leaving, to not keeping fan favorites, which has been a thing for 10 plus years. It's so hard. So I'm not saying that the Rays don't have a fan base. I am saying that, yes, the Rays, even in the 2020 World Series, when the Rays did make it in that short season, the Rays are always something short. And last year was just the very first year that was just truly disappointing. I mean, the Rays went on a little bit of a hot streak. You trade Randy at the deadline. They were getting up there, and then you trade Randy, and the month of September it tanked.
Right.
It's just tough. It's very tough. But I really do believe that either Stu is going to sell. I don't think he has the money. That's what I want to go ahead and say out right now. I think Stu is bluffing because he doesn't have the money. If you're as committed to a deal like this, where you're going to have the development rights or the land rights of so much acreage of downtown St. Pete in the entire gas plant district, you would be hopping on this. And $150 million cost overrun would still be a joke, because in the long run, you're looking at a multi-billion-dollar long-term 30-year deal investment that will make Stu go home to the bank. So to see and hear that $150 million is the reason why this deal is not done is nothing short of nonsense, and it's a slap in the face to the city, to the county. Got to remember too, he had a 30-day delay after two major hurricanes, including Hurricane Milton, had just came through. The priorities of the county and the city weren't really thinking about let's make a vote right now after a major Cat 3-4 hurricane came through of a stadium deal. for Stu to make the comments after he did, this is why you're losing fans.
Yep.
So I don't know what's going to happen with the stadium deals, Peter. I think what's going to happen is ultimately one or two things are going to happen. I think he's going to end up selling because he has no money. I know that's shocking to hear, but that's my thought.
I hope he does.
And then number two, I don't think MLB is going to let him leave the market. There's no way. There's no way MLB will allow it. They'll force Stu to sell somehow. But we'll see. But hey, I want to give you my outlook real quick on the season.
Okay.
The Rays didn't really make too many splash moves. They got the Kim guy. I think he came from, was it San Diego?
San Diego, yes.
Yep, he came from the Padres. I thought that was a really good pickup. You got
won't be ready until May, by the way.
Won't be ready, but when he does come in, I wasn't really happy with the fact that they didn't do anything in the infield when it came to shortstop.
Right.
Taylor Walls is not a shortstop. I'm sorry. It's really embarrassing. And no offense to him. You can't have a subpar 200 hitter as as your shortstop. Not only that, his defensive errors last year were,
egregious.
It wasn't the best.
Terrible.
I thought that was a good pickup for them. They got Eloy Jimenez this year as a good pickup. I was very happy with that.
Harry's very familiar with him. He's not able to stay healthy, but when he's able to stay healthy, when he was able to stay healthy with the Chicago White Sox, he's very productive. So, this is one of those moves that you would see with the Rays. It's cost effective. You get him off the I shouldn't say trashy, but you get him off the scrap heap, if you will, and you see what happened, because I believe he went to Baltimore and kind of disappeared. So maybe you can unlock something from Jimenez, because he definitely does have lots of potential. But for me, the question is going to be Junior Caminero. Can he come in? Can he make that transition? Can he be a full-time player? Where are they going to get their offense from? It seems like it's always a question every year with this team. Is that, in your opinion, the biggest question with this Rays team?
Well, that and it's always of how healthy can the Rays stay. The Rays are surprisingly very competitive. You'd be surprised, especially with our division. I mean, we all know the Yankees. We all know they all give us trouble every year.
Sure.
The AL East, even the O's are coming around the past few years. The Red Sox and Jays have kind of tanked back a little bit the last couple of seasons, but you
They've
can't.
gotten better. Yeah.
I mean, who knows what they're going to do?
Right.
But I'm excited because we are seeing a really full, healthy starting rotation.
Yeah.
To see Shane McClanahan look really good in his first couple bullpen sessions over in spring training over in Port Charlotte right now, he's looking really good. Really happy to be back in the rotation. You got a healthy Taj, a healthy Rasmussen. These top
Pepio.
three guys that are going to be really, really, really important.
And you also got Pepio
pickup,
too. Pepio. Don't forget Pepio.
Got Pepio back. If you can, Shane Boz is back. He's looking really healthy. If I'm excited about that rotation. And another pickup we're not talking about, Peter, is catcher Danny Jansen over from the Blue Jays, who, is a little bit of an underrated pickup, but I think that's a leadership role to this young rotation that you're going to be looking at coming in here. He's got a good bat when it's needed. He'll be sitting behind Christian Bethencourt. That's going to be a really good. Actually, wait. Yeah, Christian's still with us. It's Mejia we lost. I was like, was it Bethencourt we lost or was it Mejia?
Right.
I think we lost Mejia. I think we still have Bethencourt, I believe. Don't hold me on that, but
okay. I'm looking up right now.
I'm very excited. I'm still thinking, Peter, that we're going to be looking at I'm going to be honest with you. Actually, no. Depending on health, Peter, I really am looking at a 91 season. Shockingly, I know that's shocking, but you got to look at the fact that the Rays.
And by the way, Bethencourt is with Toronto, so it's
Toronto. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's with Toronto.
So they only have Danny Jansen and they have Rene Pinto then as their catchers.
No,
No, they don't even have Pinto.
Who is the backup catcher at this point for the Rays?
Lorbeck.
Okay. I think you're right. Yes.
So,
yes, you're correct.
So they have some good depth. I was excited about the Kim signing. I think that was huge at short when he's healthy. That is a very good San Diego pickup. That one really, I think that changed a little bit of going into the, especially your infield. You still have Yandy. Is Brandon Lau going to stay healthy? Can he, for once, have a 2020 season where, he's very good on the bases, can run, but he's a very good home run guy too, who can put up 20-plus home runs when he's healthy. Is that another guy that can stay healthy? We'll see. The outfield is looking a little iffy. Josh Lowe is going to be out there. Christopher Morel is another outfielder, and you're going to have Johnny DeLuca, who's going to be taking Jose Siri's replacement this year. How healthy can DeLuca stay? Because if you don't have a healthy DeLuca, you don't have a center fielder right now.
Well, and listen, Josh Lowe to me is the key for this offense. He definitely has to show out. We know the potential. We know that he can hit for power. We know that he can steal bases. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to be more consistent. He's the key. And I think, you look at Morel, who they traded for last year. He came out. But what's been the problem with him throughout his career, whether it was the Cubs or the Rays, questionable defense, strikes out way too much. He's got to cut down on the strikeouts, hit for more power. It would be nice to see him project to what the Rays are looking at and the reason why they trade him for him in the first place. So, yes, they do have some exciting pieces there. It always comes down, in my opinion, to the offense, and we'll see if they can score enough runs. But, my friend, as crazy as it sounds,
and health.
Yes,
and health.
It starts Friday versus the Yankees.
Let's go.
So there you go.
But, hey, just one last thing I wanted to talk about.
Yes, sir.
I know the Bolts right now are in the middle of a break. We got some Bolts right now who are in the what I like to call the world, whatever it is, the classic I call it. I know
Nations 4
Eagles over there in Team Canada. He's lighting up with fights and scoring goals. I think Victor Hedman's over in Team Sweden. I think he's with Sweden, I believe.
I think you're right. Yes.
And then Jake Gensel lighting it up for Team USA.
Yes.
He's got 2 goals the other night, so we're really good to see the Bolts staying hot during this break, and hopefully we can come in. And
of course, John Cooper coaching the Canada team there. So
John Cooper, how about, hey, Peter, how about the, I know you heard about this. How about the booze? Canada with the USA national anthem. That went everywhere. But hey, listen, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you go. It's gonna be a great baseball season. I know the Bucks had a great season this year. We didn't get to really talk about Bucks, but I'm not sure what they're gonna do in the draft. I've told you this. After the season ended.
Well, I got a mock draft Monday for you. I got, according to Pro Football Focus, I got a little mock draft, so I'm going to read that when I get done. So I'll go ahead and let you go, let you
Thanks,
listen.
Buddy.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, Alex. As always, great stuff as always. Open phone line, 727-255-0391 at 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Cam. Peter, I was politically correct for you not to get into trouble. Don't worry, you can't be canceled anymore. Tim says, what are the Chris Godwin rumors? Rumors are, first, he's, according to Jenna Lane, not going to be tagged for the 3rd time. There is no chance, according to her words, but the Bucs are going to try everything they can to get him re-signed. Of course, if they did try to tag him for a 3rd time, it would cost in excess of $41 million. Not happening at all, according to various sources. Also, the 2 prime locations that Godwin could be headed to if he does make it out into the market would be the Las Vegas Raiders, of course, with John Spytek now, the new general manager, Tom Brady, the minority owner there. And then, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars with Liam Cohen. So those are the rumors. They're just rumors at this point. We cover them here on the Evolution. Tim Haynes, it's going to be a boy.
This guy sucks. Shut up!
Rays need to go to Toronto. Not happening, guys. Sorry. Cam says, let's go out to Sun Devil Dave. Sun Devil Dave, welcome to the Evolution.
This is already.
What's going on, buddy? All hail to Patrick
Great
Mahomes.
job, buddy.
Yeah, great job to you, man. Great job.
Awesome. Hey, great show as always.
Thank you. I appreciate
a couple
that.
other things I wanted to add on. I believe Sorelli, of course, Hedman's on Sweden. Sorelli and Kunzel. I think Sorelli's also on the he's on Canada USA.
We'll have to check that. We definitely have to check. So,
but I was looking. I think they got like 4 or 5 guys all playing, and they're all playing well.
Right.
So, and Braden Point's playing too, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe he is. I believe he absolutely
so we got
is.
a lot of great players. Hey, I want to talk about the GOAT, Tom Brady.
Talk about it, man.
So, when I was watching the Super Bowl and Brady was doing the conversations, he was going through the play-by-play.
Yeah.
So you got to feel that inside. I think he had to be happy.
Right.
That Mahomes lost. Right.
Correct.
Because now here's the reason why I'm saying this. Because all this talk that if Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, he's gonna be the greatest of all time.
Right.
He'll be 4-1 and blah 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 and all this other stuff. And I think Brady, was satisfied with the results. I mean, it's difficult to win, 4, 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls.
Correct.
Difficult to even get to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And
10 Super Bowls, by the way, by Tom Brady.
I'm sorry?
10 Super Bowls he got to.
10.
And
10 appearances, 7-3.
Yes.
And again, I think that the main argument now is that, Brady's 3 losses were all very close. It was, I think, 4 points against New York, 3 points against New York. And then, of course, the 8-point loss against the Eagles. But remember, he had that bomb that Gronk almost caught in the end zone.
Correct.
At the end there.
Yes.
So that could have tied the game, possibly with a 2-point conversion. So all his losses were razor thin.
Yes.
Close.
Not blowouts like Mahomes. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Not blowouts like Mahomes. Mahomes blowout against the Bucs.
But again, I mean, I look at some of the numbers. Yeah, but I mean, when you look at Mahomes' record though, against I think he's 6-1 against Mr. Action Jackson, Allen, and Burrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a 17-4 overall.
Correct.
So I mean, that's still pretty impressive.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
and
the
another
era
thing I
of
want to bring up
Mahomes.
is that remember Brady was 3-2 after his first 5 when he lost to the Giants twice.
Right.
7-11. So again, I mean, Mahomes is 29. He still, I think he still may go 2-3 more Super Bowls. We'll see. I mean, he could easily go 5-3, 6-4. We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
certainly possible with that team and that coaching staff and everything like that.
Right.
To me, they need a number 1 wide receiver. I think Xavier Worthy, is a future guy, but in my opinion, they need a number 1 wide receiver. And you look at this trade market, how interested are they going to be in Deebo Samuel? How interested would they be in the Cooper Kupp? How interested would they be in possibly, Godwin, maybe a Tyreek Hill, makes it back there. Although, I don't know if Miami's going to trade him back there, and the salary itself, that's the reason why Hill is not in Kansas City in the first place. So it'll be interesting to see how this trade market, finds itself, because there's so many primetime players, and I don't know, it's a different year. In my opinion, you see all these talented wide receivers. You see Myles Garrett possibly on the trade block there. You see Matt Stafford. There's some really interesting trades that could go down to change the complexions of some of these teams.
It'll be good, great off season. And you got the combines coming up.
Yeah.
Got the draft coming up in April. Oh, and I also like Roger. I mean, I do like to watch UFL. I know you say it's minor league, but the intensity, because these guys are all trying to get that slot.
Right.
In NFL. And I like what The Rock did, because I mean, Dwayne Johnson says, look, I bought this because I was that guy. Remember, I think he was in the CFL, and I think he blew out his knee.
He did.
He got cut, and he tried to go to NFL. If the UFL was around or XFL was strong back, maybe The Rock could have got back in the NFL.
Sure.
Another tryout.
Sure.
So this is give those guys, that extra shot. He had a couple UFL guys come in. I forgot all their names now, but a couple prominent guys made it, and that's great. I mean, it's a good story. What did you do this weekend without football? Did you watch the NBA All-Star game? Did you watch hockey? I put it in the chat. I watched Cobra Kai, the last 5 episodes.
Kai. There you go. I got to watch the last 5 episodes.
So it's amazing. I don't want to give away. It was I think Cobra Kai, again, is my humble opinion, may go down maybe in the last 25 years, probably one of the best action comedy series in the last 25 years.
I love it. I love it.
Truly,
I think it's right up
the
there.
acting, the backstories, the emotion, the young actors too. I mean, everyone's great. And William Zabka, that's his name.
Yes, that is his name. Yep. Mm-hmm.
He's amazing.
Right.
And it's just to see how the character grows from, how he was, of course, the bully antagonist and how he becomes.
Are you there, Dave? Hello, Dave. Oh, I think we lost Dave here. To call back, Dave. In fact, we'll try to call him back. Let's see if we can call him back here. Stand by. That's what we do sometimes. Okay. Well, it's not working at this point. All right. So we'll try to get him back on here, try to have him call back. We'll read the rest of these comments, and then we'll give you a mock draft really quick. We'll read this out. This is from Pro Football Focus Mock Draft Simulator. It's never too soon to talk about the NFL draft, which is in a couple months. February is almost over. Like, it's February 17th. This month is almost, where did February go? Like, you have Valentine's Day and it's over with. Like, it's nearly over with. It's 17th. We're almost to March. Once you get to March, then you get to free agency. Oh, now I'm skipping it. You get to the draft combine here in a couple weeks, and then you get to free agency. And then free agency comes, and then boom, you have an indicator of where you're going to go in the draft. And then you're back to mini camp, and then you got training camp, and then boom, football season is right here again. So it's going to be a little bit. I get that. I get it. There's going to be some weekends where you're going to be like, what am I going to do with myself? I'm going to watch the NBA. Probably not. Yeah, probably not watch the NBA. I don't know. Not a lot watched this weekend when it came to the All-Star game, right? You're going to watch Major League Baseball. There's going to be some fans out there going to watch the Rays this year. I definitely think there's going to be interest. Again, the stadium situation is killing me. It's kind of like sucking the life out of me. It's like the first 2 hours of the day with Policy Scout where, I have these older people and they're screaming at me and I'm like, please get me out of here. Let me just go ahead and take this phone and punch myself in the face with it so I can knock myself out, black out, and I won't have to talk to these people anymore because they're stealing my energy at this juncture and I want to run out the door like my hair is on fire. That's the kind of situation it is when dealing with the Tampa Bay Rays and their stadium situation, especially when Stu and his cohorts speak. That's what I feel like. Not a great picture. I like to get that taken care of, and then you can get excited about 2025 and this Rays upcoming season. We'll read these comments, and then we'll go out to mock draft Monday here, according to Pro Football Focus. Let's see who will get first, Jerry Jones or Stu. Dave says, I agree. Stu doesn't want to spend any money. Please sell the team. Christopher Cole Rays could have had Javi Baez for cheap, but no. Alex says, love these shows. Thanks. Absolutely, man. Love you.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for having me on. Absolutely. And like I said, I threw this out there. I don't know if you guys caught it, but we'll put it back there on social media. Anytime you guys call in, give me a sound effect. I can't get you a theme per se, but I can get you a sound effect. So like when Alex, you call in, we play this. Right, I play that. Or if you want a different sound effect, get at me on social media. I'll put the post out there. And anytime you call in, and that's the key, you got to call in, and you can call in twice, and we'll play your sound effect. Because we have Jim that calls in from Ohio, we play this.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell is the matter with you?
And when Roger calls in, we play this.
Acknowledge me!
And when Ray comes in, we play this.
Mr. Kennedy!
And when Harry comes in, we play this. So there are sound effects out there that won't get me copyrighted. So we'll put it out there in social media, and you give me a sound effect, and I will try to come up with it. Let's go out to Christopher Cole here. Sweden won 2-1, but it is still set up on Thursday night. USA versus Canada. That's what you want. That's what you got to have at the end of the day. Absolutely. Dave says my phone sucks. That happens, my friend. Call in on Wednesday night. We'll be back on Wednesday night with Leo Haggerty, probably some more guests here. And of course, talking about Turnbuckle Talk and being one of the top podcasts in 2024. Thank you very much for that. Javier says, Javier Rodriguez, my man, Peter Blake, appreciate you, my friend. Let's go out to Cam here. Peter, pretty soon when the Rays are sold, we will all become Yankees. That's not happening. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. I watch NASCAR, hockey, and Cobra Kai. So thank you very much for that, Christopher Cole.
Yeah.
Oh, and WWE NXT. Very cool. Very cool, my friend.
What's your name?
Let's go out to Cam Decker. Peter, can you imagine yourself rooting for the Yankees? No, I cannot. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. UFL starts too soon. Starts too soon. Well, it's gonna be coming back here in the next couple of weeks. Any interest in that UFL? Even though they're not in Florida, by the way, that's a dropping of the ball. No Florida teams in a football state like Florida. No UFL Florida teams. Is Godwin leaving? I don't think Godwin is leaving, but the rumors are out there that first the Bucs, there's no chance they're going to tag him 3 times because it will cost $41 million, according to Jenna Lane and other outlets out there. But they will do everything in their power to get him re-signed. And I feel like Jason Light has shown over the last couple of years, you never rule out Jason Light in this organization. If they want to take care of their players, they will take care of their players. They've done it with Godwin. They've done it with Evans. They've done it with Baker Mayfield and Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield Jr. So I do not think he is going anywhere. And plus, he likes the area. And what's not to like about the Tampa Bay area when it comes down to it? Let's go out to Tim here. The stadium situation does suck the life out of my excitement for the new season. And I didn't want to be so descriptive, but that's how I feel when I go and do the sales job during the morning time, the first couple hours there, the first half. And then also that's how I feel about, talking about the stadium situation. It absolutely stinks. It stinks talking about the stadium situation instead of talking about what's going on in the field. And you feel like you've got a deal finally and you've got nothing because the ownership wants more money. And that's what it's always been about. Who else is free agents on the Bucs? Thank you for the comment there, Steven. I think you're a new subscriber there. You got Ben Bredesen, of course, Levante David. Those are the key free agents. Anthony Nelson, I think, is a guy they'll probably bring back. But the main free agents that you're looking at here are Ben Bredesen at left guard, Levante David at linebacker. We'll see if he comes back another year at 35 years old. And of course, the aforementioned Chris Godwin. Let me go out to Cam here. Peter, do you think Jeff Gordon will win the Cup this year in NASCAR? Man, I really don't know that much about NASCAR. I'll just go ahead and let you have that. Let me go out to the mock draft Monday here. First pick, of course, the Bucs picking at 19. Edge, Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M. What they say here, edge help is one pressing need for the Bucs. Light addresses it and right away with one of the best available in Stewart. Stewart is a ball of fury after the snap, proven right here. I guess I have a video of it. I don't have the video. Sorry, can't do that. Will be copyrighted by YouTube and Facebook, and we won't have a show anymore. We can't do that. During Senior Bowl practices, but he doesn't stop after the ball moves. Stewart shows relentless hustle and finishing all plays. He's too quick, too much for guards who try to block him or even tackle, trying to keep him at bay. The 6'5", 280-pound Stewart has NFL edge size already. He already looks like a Greek statue with his chiseled physique. He'll need to build an arsenal of hand moves moving forward, as Stewart looked too reliant on his speed and ball rush to beat blockers. But of course, the Bucs need help on the outside with top pass rushers Vea and Kalijah Cansey, who top the 7 sacks mark inside. Stewart provides the needed outside spark by arriving at number 19 to Tampa. They go on to say round 2, 51. Jalen Walker, linebacker, Georgia, what they have to say about him. Walker makes prime sense as the eventual successor for the franchise legend Levante David. Walker brings similar quickness and closing speed, although Walker qualifies as a hybrid defender for this defense. He's brought damage as an off-the-ball linebacker and pass rusher, but his closing speed will get Bulls making a beeline toward getting him drafted. The 6'2", 245-pounder helped replace Bulldogs legend Nolan Smith, who, of course, just won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. Walker happens to be compared to the Philadelphia Eagles star by Lance Zierlein of the NFL Network. Walker, like Stewart, needs to add hand moves moving forward. He gets swallowed by offensive tackles often. When the rush crowds gets congested, but Bulls built speed-heavy defense in Tampa, Walker fits perfectly here. And round 3, pick 83, cornerback. God, I hope I get this name right. I can't believe where he's from, besides his mother. Isaiah Thomas, Florida State. The Florida State's players on defense, I don't know. We'll see. This is what they say about Mr. Thomas. They breed cornerbacks in Tallahassee. Thomas is the latest coming out of Florida State. The Seminoles have delivered a habit of producing high-quality, tall cornerbacks. Thomas stands at 6'2", matches efficiently with opposing wideouts. Thomas shows strong patience in his coverage. He's destructive as a run stuffer who isn't afraid to crash down the line of scrimmage. Thomas tends to develop poor hip angles, though. That flaw exposes him to allow big plays his way. Not having Brandon Fisk and Jared First as a clear effect on Thomas, which, by the way, the Rams did a great job of drafting those players, produced a better 2023 compared to 2024. That's why I say the onus is on the front end. It helps out your back end. And you could see that with Thomas there at Florida State. It was a disaster there at Florida State at this point. But Thomas is worth the pickup here in the 3rd round, can solidify a strong rotation of cornerbacks alongside Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum. If Dean is going to come back, they may restructure or just outright let him go, trade him. Overall, all top 100 selections fill pivotal needs for the Bucs. That's Pro Football Focus there on your mock draft Monday. So mock me if you will. It's not mine. We'll come out with some mock drafts here eventually. That Godwin rumor was expected. Cam says, do we even know who Jeff Gordon is? I do. I hate Stu. He's cheap, needs to sell the team. We will never win with him as an owner. You will never win a World Series with the way this team is constructed. Hate to say it. Love the Rays. You could see I have Tropicana in the back. Love this team forever, but they're going nowhere with this ownership. Great comment. Steve, thanks a lot for tuning in there. I'm hoping Fox sometime will let John Madden call one last game before he passes away. Hey, Cam, he's dead already. Terrible comment. Let's go out to the phone lines here. What's your name? Where you're calling from? You're on the Evolution.
This is Eric from Lakeland, Florida. The best sports talk show in the whole world.
Bro, I appreciate you. How you doing? I know you lost your dad there a couple of weeks ago. So how you hanging in there, boss?
This is making me feel better. Bring the passion, bring the excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense, Peter. I'm trying to like not be quiet, but
I love
at
it,
the same
man.
time, because there's people sleeping.
Yes, I know. Well, they can't hear you. They can hear me, but I can hear you. So that was great. Good job.
Yeah,
Eric.
I was honored for me and my dad to watch Tom Brady. What's the game? The game where Mike Evans burned the Panthers for 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
We were down,
Yes.
then we were down, and then we were got a chance to go to the Commanders game this year, the first game, so that was a lot of fun. Hey, gotta cherish the moments.
Yep.
It's tough. But yeah.
I got you, brother. I got you. So what's on your mind tonight? What did you do this weekend without football?
What did I do this weekend? I just chill around the house. I'm usually off on Sunday and Monday.
Okay.
But yeah, you think there's any way Stu sells a team this season? I know there's been talk of it.
It would be nice. It would be. I mean, I'm hoping. I pleaded to Rob Manfred. I said, please, baby Jesus, Rob Manfred, please force Stu Sternberg to sell this team so all Rays fans can rejoice. And I've said this on other shows. If Stu sells, I'm not the biggest drinker, but I'll buy everybody shots. I'll do shots with you guys because.
Do you think the new owner would sell or try to stay in Tampa Bay?
No, I listen. If Stu sells, he's selling to a local Tampa group to keep this team here. They're not going anywhere because you're not leaving the 11th largest media market first and foremost. You're not doing that. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense by Major League Baseball. So this whole nonsense of, them moving to Nashville and moving to Portland. Where's the money coming from? First and foremost, from those communities. Orlando, they're dreaming.
Yeah,
it's a perfect name for a team because they're dreaming. They have no money at this point to get a deal done. Manfred and Major League Baseball do not want to leave the Tampa Bay area. Now, do they want to deal with St. Pete? I don't know. There was a stadium deal that's done. They approved the bonds, and now it seems like the ownership group wants to get out of it. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think Major League Baseball in the end wants to stay here. And if they do find a local group here, they're going to stay here. They're not going to move the team out of here.
One more question.
Sure.
You want Godwin back? I mean, I know everyone wants him back, but there's a
Yes.
price. Like, hey, someone's gonna, if someone offers them the ridiculous amount of money,
Not my money.
I will be like,
No, it's not my money. I mean, listen, if the Bucks want him back and Jason Light makes that decision to pay that, then you do it. And Chris Godwin, before the injury, we had 50 catches in that offense. Can you imagine with him in that offense, with Mike Evans, of course, coming back? I get it, another year older, but Mike Evans seems like, he is the ageless wonder at this point. And then the emergence of Jalen McMillan and Cade Otton and that running game and that offensive
Durham
line.
and Devin Culp.
Yes, and by the way, congratulations to Payne Durham on his engagement there with his fiance, I believe. Congratulations to him. But you're exactly right. I would definitely want him back. It's not my money. I think there's going to be a market out there. Is it going to be as plentiful as it would have been if you don't have that injury? I think it would have been more. So this could be a blessing in disguise. And I think Jason Light has shown in the past that he takes care of his own players. And they want to keep Godwin around. They have a relationship here with Mike Evans. And if you're Chris Godwin, why would you want to leave the Tampa Bay area at this point?
And there's no tag. I mean, that's going to be.
No.
I heard. I
There's
think
no
it was
tag.
Jen and Lane.
Yes.
Like 141%.
Yes, she said no chance. 41.
Yeah, and then we can resign them, and Greenberg and Light can maybe what do you call that? Front load the contracts. That way. If there's all the guaranteed money in 1 year, sure. Maybe, the cap number will be $7 million this year, but maybe it'll be like 18 next year,
right.
So
right.
They're going to maneuver that.
Certainly,
the tag,
certainly
I know
possible.
they tagged them
yes.
2 years ago when they signed them 3 years, $60 million, and then they finally got a deal done. But he never signed that tag, and then they got a deal done.
Yeah, they got a deal done, but they can't tag him again because if they tag him, they're going to have to pay him like $41 million, which they're not going to do as a wide receiver. And then it's 144% raise. So they're going to figure something out. And listen, Godwin may take a prove-it deal to stay here for a couple years, and maybe he goes out and becomes a free agent, next year. But I really think Jason Light wants Godwin to finish as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And if Light
3
wants
years,
it,
64, 66 mil.
Why not? Go for it. Why not? I mean, I think that's fair, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
I think Spot Track had it about 3 years, 67 million.
Yeah.
A little bit under 23 million a year.
Yeah. That's certainly possible. Certainly could get that. So what else?
I think someone said, I don't know, on the someone called in the T-Grass wanted us to dump Baker for Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, come on,
that's
like
nonsense.
that's. I mean, I'd rather have or Stafford. You rather have Baker or Stafford? I mean,
Baker.
Stafford's 37. Baker's like what? Not even 30 yet.
Stafford's 37, and then on top of it, the reason why the Rams are looking to get rid of him is not only because his age is getting up there, his salary cap, but also the distractions of his wife and talking on the podcast. They've done with that too. I'd rather
Cooper
have
Kupp,
right?
Yeah, they're not happy about that.
Yeah, I would rather have Baker Mayfield at this point. Honestly, I don't know what fans are looking at. I just think some fan was drunk and. Maybe it was maybe it was Cam Decker. Who knows?
You got a bold prediction.
Sure, go
Cooper
for it.
Kupp's going to go to the Jags.
So Cooper Kupp to the Jags. That's certainly possible. Working with Liam Cohen there, that would be interesting.
With what's his name? Brian Thomas, and then they have a chance to draft. I don't know. You think they'll draft? What's that guy name?
Well, you need to draft an offensive
Victoria
lineman.
McMillan. He's like a Mike Evans type.
You need to draft an offensive lineman for Trevor. I'm trying to think. Trevor Lawrence, because if you don't get him some offensive line help, you're going to get him killed again. So and
Yeah, it's going to be like Russell Wilson in Seattle.
It's a big year for Trevor Lawrence and the new offense here. So we'll see. He has a chance to prove himself with Liam Cohen, and we'll see what Cohen can do and what kind of transition he can make as a head coach from offensive coordinator, because that doesn't always work out. It's not always flawless at the end of the day.
I think they can win. I don't know. I mean, it's not the greatest division. I mean, you still got the Colts, you got the Titans. Who else you got in there? Jags, Titans, Colts. So I mean,
well, it's one of the worst divisions in football besides the NFC.
I'll be surprised if they win 8 or 9 games and win the division. No. I'll be surprised if they win 4 games. Yeah.
I think it's more likely they could win 4 games this year. The Jaguars. So
they have
eye on them.
A turnaround like the Washington. I don't know. I mean, a lot of things have to go right.
Yeah, I would think more likely 4 wins. It could be a disaster, and Coleman could be out there in the next 2 to 3 years. I don't. It's not a good organization. It's not. So, nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
Eric.
I think Grizzard will do a good job. He wants to be physical.
Right.
Offensive line, worse. Looks like we're going to lose Hainsey, so maybe Klein can be that swing tackle. He can be guard.
Very good.
Guard,
good
center.
Very good point. Yep. Or take over for Brederson, but I think they like Brederson, and we'll see where the how much money he's going to get and where the market is. But I definitely think they're happy with keeping Brederson in the fold. And once again, it's all about continuity, keeping that offensive line together, because it definitely helps your offense grow. Eric, appreciate the call as always, my friend. All right.
Appreciate it.
All right. Good stuff there. We'll wrap this call up with some of these comments, and then we will get off for the night, and we will be back on Wednesday night at 9:00 here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Let's see here. Cam says, imagine a game called by Brady and John Madden. I'm not worried about Godwin leaving. He likes it in Tampa, the organization, player-friendly organization. He knows that. I think it will take less to say. Bucks are a destination organization now. Very good comment.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Cam again. Oh, no. When did he die? A couple of years ago. Steven says, Peter, you're awesome. I love the show. It's the best. Appreciate you. Don't be shy. Continue to tune in here on YouTube. Call in if you like to. Steven, appreciate you. Gordon has been retired for at least 5 years now. Yes, I know. I try not to feed the animals, if you will, to look at that. All right, let's go out to Sun Devil Dave. Sun Devil Dave, go ahead.
I'm back.
Yes, sir. Finish up, my friend.
My phone sucks, by the way. I'm really sorry.
Well, you can't buy it from Cricket Wireless or
I do.
Or McDonald's.
Actually, it's a Metro, baby.
Metro.
So, hey, real quickly,
yes.
Sorelli and Hagel are playing Canada. Gunzel, I think, scored twice for USA.
Correct.
And then Point actually scored as well.
Yes.
So you got a lot of activity. USA Canada rematch Thursday night.
Yes.
For the title, for nation title. Also on the UFL, they actually had 40 players that were signed to camps in August of 2024. 21 made the team. 21 players in the UFL.
It's good for the league.
So very, very impressed.
Yes.
Team Butler, Colin. I mean, there was some pretty big names. So that was more than I expected. So I just wanted to add that. So
I am going to make a point, because you and Roger Shue, who we all work together at Policy Scout, so I appreciate you calling in. I don't know if you heard the description of the Rays situation in regards to the first couple hours of being on the phone with Winifred and Edith. You know what I'm talking about, sucking the life out of you. I'm going to make a point to watch this football league this year, okay? We could talk about it on the show.
UFL, I think it kicks off March 28th.
All right, UFL.
So we'll get together. We'll have a party. We'll have it at Ferg's. Do a pre-game show. Tailgate.
A pre-game show of one person watching. Yes, we'll do that. We've done that before. Who knows?
Pre-game.
Great pre-game. Yes.
But you had the Birmingham Stallions, and then you got the Houston Roughnecks, and
there you go. But no Florida teams.
Brahma Bulls.
Yeah, Brahma Bulls.
San Antonio Brahmas, I think they're called.
But no Florida teams. And the Rock is from the Miami Hurricanes, and you couldn't put a team in Miami. You couldn't put a team in Orlando. You couldn't put a team at Tampa.
I know that he's been talking about they're going to expand next year to either 12.
Okay. Well,
so I'm hoping it's got to be an Orlando or Tampa team, or maybe Jacksonville.
It would be. Well, yeah. I don't know why you put it in Jacksonville. I don't know what's in Jacksonville besides the Duval. I don't know what's in there at all.
But you got to wrap the fan base because they'll probably have 15, 20.
That's great enough to suck right there.
That's what I think about Jacksonville.
You got the mouth breeders out there. I told you the story when I went through Tallahassee in that area. Well, I know it's Panhandle, but
tell me, what is it?
The movie
armpit?
Deliverance.
Oh, Deliverance.
Deliverance, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes, yes, the armpit of the South.
I pulled up
right
with my Arizona license plates in this hotel, and then some guy, I swear to God, and I was not stereotypical, but he had the jorts, the half shirt,
the John Cena jorts,
cap, the mullet. I'm serious, mullet.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at me. He goes, "Where are you from?" I said, "Well, I'm driving through from Arizona. I'm coming to live in Orlando."
Well, listen, when somebody asks
from Arizona,
when somebody asks where you're from, you always say my mom. I mean, that's the one. That's the one you go with.
And then he gave me he looked at me, he looked at my license plate, and I said, "I'm from Arizona." I go and come to Orlando, and he honestly looks at me and goes, "We don't like your kind here."
Oh God.
And I said, "Oh gosh." I go, "I'm really sorry. I don't want to cause any trouble." And then I basically just checked out a hotel and got the heck out of it.
Yeah, that was a good idea, my friend, because you could have been a part of Deliverance too.
I love Florida, man. I don't mean to be stereotypical, but I mean there are some areas where it feels like you go back to 1865, man. It's crazy.
Some people are as old from 1865. All right, Sun Devil Dave.
True.
Appreciate it.
But thank you again, man. Great show. Amazing. I loved your Tampa Bay talk.
Thank you.
We'll talk. I know that guy's he needs to sell a team. Get rid of the freaking team.
Yes.
I think Manfred's gonna put pressure on. Maybe they'll work out. They'll sweeten the pot. Say, look, we're gonna buy you out. Here's what we're gonna do. You know, we got owners set up. And Stu will be happy. Get him the hell out of there. Get him out of ownership and get someone else in there. So
sounds good, my friend.
Because they're not gonna go ahead and make those bonds at March 31st, right? They have to accept it.
Well, they have to. So, that's the deadline at this point.
Right.
So we'll see if they can.
Yeah. He's not going to do it.
Well, they never do
there's
it.
No way.
They never do anything when it comes to spending money, their own money. It's always about spending everybody else's money.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
It is.
Anyways, have a great evening. Thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow. Great job as always.
Great job. All right. Good stuff. Sun Devil Dave. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. All right. Let's wrap this up. Don't want to be too loud here because the roommates are still sleeping. So we don't want to wake them up. I don't want to hear it because I hear enough bitching during the day for about 8 hours.
That's great enough to suck right there.
Listen, I just want my sound effects. I want it one day, and I say this all the time when I'm on the phone because Mondays are tough, the first 2 hours. And I'm a lead generator for Policy Scout, so I just want to be able to have a first couple good hours where I don't have to get yelled at or cursed at or threatened that you're going to come to my house or come to the call center and blow my brains out. I don't want that. I don't want to, be threatened. I'm going to, be beaten down, because there's times where I want to say, listen, I wish you would get mounted by a rabid dog. And then also I would like to play my sound effects like this.
That's great enough to suck right there.
Exactly. The first 2 hours today that's the sound effect I wanted to play all the time on every call. Oh no, how did he die? Look it up. Google is your friend. Steven says, thank you, Steven. I appreciate the comment.
Oh, yeah.
As I'm getting off a track here. Gordon has retired. Do you think Dwayne Stats like Stu? Dwayne Stats, best announcer. He's a great announcer. I don't know if he likes Stu or not. I think everybody in that organization at some point is saying, God, can this guy just move on at this point? They should let Frank Caliendo call the game as John Madden on Fox Network with Tom Brady. Do it on Thanksgiving. Ratings would be insane for Fox. Greg says Godwin will retire a buck. I agree with you on that. Go Bucks. Absolutely.
How about them Bucks, baby?
Go Bucks. There we go. Let's go out to Steven here. Baker's top 5 quarterback in the league. He is. Absolutely. Baker's franchise quarterback for Tampa Bay for the next 8 years. He's proven it. Tampa Bay fans love him. Greg Cole says, rock on, Peter. Fire those cannons as we shall. I don't like the low volume, Peter. I know I'm trying my best here to be not too low, because I feel like, I'm kind of like, like, again, this is like the first hour on the phone. Like, I'm just trying to, this is Pete on a recorded line with Insure Life. I'm trying to, like, and you're trying to be as quiet as you can, and somebody's just like, Dad, call me again. And I'm like,
That's good enough to suck right there.
And I'm like,
shitter.
I'm like, exactly. So, I make up with it for the sound effects. I do apologize. It is tough. Tell those roommates to deal with the passion, deal with the excitement. They're just going to have to deal with our nonsense. They're going to have to. We'll figure this situation out. By the way, put it in the comments. Am I too loud on my show? I'm just saying. I'm getting conscious about it. Peter, I'm going to show up to your call center in a Speedo and a Diet Coke. Please don't ever do that ever again.
This guy sucks.
Yeah, please don't ever do that again. Exactly. You are a bum.
Shitter.
All right. With that being said, we're going to wrap it up here, guys, and ask for an autograph. Thank you. I appreciate that, Cam. Let's say you're going to do it and don't do it. Thanks to Leo Haggerty, the legend himself, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. I'm also on Instagram Live there. Guys, if you love the content, Facebook stars are available. YouTube Super Chats, 2-3 things. I can't yell, so I'll just put it out there. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. As always, go Bucks.